tell you, Carl and Dr. Forbes, we actually spoke with some locals earlier today. Spoke with a 5-year-old girl, and I asked her what happens when the sirens go off. Her response, no hesitation, take cover. So they're in tune. They know.
Yeah.
And right now, they're certainly paying heed to these warnings. Listen back to you.
All right, Reynolds, thank you so much. People very well versed in that part of the world, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, and rightfully so. And to answer Reynolds' question, the storm that he's seeing probably off farther to the west is one that earlier had a tornado warning. It was number 3 of what we were talking about.
Still haven't
It
shown a
still shows a hook on it. It has no warnings at all at the moment on it, but it may re-intensify. But it has been showing some movement off toward the east-southeast, as have the others. And so
maybe
as
that
long
brings
as
some
that
hail to
continues,
Joplin.
there may be some hail come into Joplin from that particular storm. But probably, as long as if it were to intensify and get a tornado warning again, that would probably mean it would turn to the right and go more toward Baxter Springs in Kansas and miss Joplin to the south. The more it's an ordinary thunderstorm, the more likely it is to come with hail perhaps into the Joplin area, but not a tornado threat. So that would be my best forecast at the moment.
You know, how is it that here in the plains, you know, a lot of times people have experience with thunderstorms in the east where you get a lot of storms and then it's over, the atmosphere has been worked over and it's done. That doesn't always happen in the plains, does it?
No, it really doesn't, and especially in a case like today because there is a front along the area, so that front is giving some overall squeezing, and you're able to get multiple thunderstorms. It's a stationary front too. Often in some parts of the country, it's a cold front, and so you get one shot, then the cold front comes through, brings in northwest flow, drier, colder, stable air. Not in this case with a stationary front. The warm moist air keeps pushing in from the south. The storms keep running along that frontal zone. There's a little bit of a gradual creep south and east of this one, I think, but there could be multiple storms hitting Joplin.
Can we take another look at the high-resolution radar there in Joplin and get a look at the latest scan and see what's going on? Okay, we'll time this out, and this is just about ready to come into Joplin, the most dangerous part of this storm. And again, so far, what we have seen is not the strongest of circulations, but a circulation nonetheless.
Yeah, and you're seeing more and more here this sort of backward C-shaped line, suggesting it's a little bit more outflow dominant than it is rotation dominant at this time. So damaging winds, but still that again brings the chance of a tornado. Here we've gone to the high definition radar, and I'll push its position just a little bit. So here is Joplin. Let's see. Circulation pretty close to the airport. The circulation previously has been mostly up at the Webb City region. I'll take a look here in the storm relative velocities. And
wow,
there is a little spot there of a possible tornado right about there. So let's, while we have that circle, see if we have any debris signature on that. I do not see any little blue speck there. So at the moment, we believe that this is Doppler indicated. And that was a pretty small speck on a wee little appendage there in that broader, what I'm thinking is a gust front coming out. So certainly a possibility of winds that could be hitting a number of places. Certainly a possibility of a tornado in that line. Oh, there.
New scan.
Now a brand new scan has come in, so we've had a well-defined hook echo there coming in up around the Webb City area. And let's see if we've got a new velocity that's come in with that one. That one, too, is showing some circulation right about in there, as well as the broader circulation. And we seem to, there may be another little bit of circulation right in there. Let me go back to the regular. So we still continue to have the one we saw a moment ago with that possible tornado closer into Joplin. Another possible tornado up closer to the main body of the storm. So that's kind of characteristic. If you get a gust front coming out, you can have multiple centers. Usually if there's going to be a bigger tornado, it will be up closer to the place where the forward flank downdraft of the thunderstorm intersects with the rear flank downdraft, and that's where the mesocyclone is. So that would be more closer to the Webb City area, but Joplin certainly not out of the woods. We saw this kind of a thing, Carl, last Wednesday night when we had a big storm to the north, put out a gust front. It got a circulation in it. That's the one that gave a low-end EF2 tornado for Moore. So it's not out of the question that something like that could happen for Joplin. In this case, though, we're not having a cold front that's outrun the main storm here, so we could get a tornado coming also to the Webb City area and in between Carthage and Fidelity.
And we should point out this circulation that we are seeing on this cell is the strongest that we have seen so far since there was a tornado warning for Joplin. I wonder if the CC is in now, if we could take a look at the correlation coefficient, if we're seeing anything there. It looks to be ambiguous.
Looks pretty ambiguous at this point. We would expect to be seeing the tornadoes. Let's see, where's my white line here? The tornado circulation in here, another possible in there, and we are not seeing a very slight reduction in the correlation coefficient in that area. So, and maybe a little bit in there, but it's pretty much ambiguous. Certainly nothing that jumps out at us as a big tornado in progress.
So yeah, so people know we'd be looking for a big blue
ball, yeah,
right there. That would tell us there's a lot of debris in the air. We're definitely not seeing that, at least not right now. And it looks like we're getting more of that RFD right in there.
Been an unconfirmed report of a funnel cloud in Webb City there.
Okay. So we've got a funnel cloud in Webb City. That is right where that more pronounced circulation is. Again, still a tornado warning in Joplin, perhaps a smaller circulation closer to Joplin, a more pronounced circulation to the north near Webb City, where a funnel cloud has been spotted in this tornado warning going until 9:30 Central Time.
And that Webb City was the northern of the circulations, the one that I was saying was close to up in the inside of the hook echo. Up in right in there, as opposed to this little notch that's down closer into the Joplin area. That little notch, by the way, now is run off to the north and east of Joplin, and what we're continuing to see is the main character of the storm is this what is likely to be a gust front. This is the
RFD, as it's called.
The rear flank downdraft that is wrapping around the northwest side of the storm. The inflow comes in here. And the main rotation of the storm is up near Webb City, where there's been a possible tornado. We're mainly getting probably winds that will, if they're not already, and we can maybe find out from Reynolds if he can tell us if they're getting strong shifted winds there in the Joplin.
And when you've got a strong circulation like that, you can have a very strong RFD. You can have winds of 70, 80 miles per hour.
Oh, absolutely. And this is the kind of day you could have that because there's dry air aloft that gets pulled into the side of the storm. Rain evaporates into that continues to accelerate downward, and then it blasts forward as it hits into the ground.
All right, let's go out to Reynolds right now in Joplin. And Reynolds, are you seeing that wind shift yet?
We are definitely feeling a wind shift. What's interesting is from our location, the wind feels a little bit more northwesterly. We'll have an occasion, but I mean, in terms of the component, earlier this afternoon, gentlemen, it was south. It was southeast, southwest by late afternoon, but now everything is really coming in northwest.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking, Reynolds. We were thinking that you had gotten into what we're calling the rear flank downdraft, the northwest flow, behind the gust front that's coming out of this storm, and we sort of anticipated that, and Reynolds has confirmed. It looks like now probably by all indications, the main threat of a tornado would be just slightly to the east and southeast of Joplin, and then up to the northeast into the Webb City area, heading over toward Carthage and Fidelity in southwest parts of Missouri.
So the bad news there in Joplin is that we could be talking about 70, 80 mile per hour winds coming across Joplin. The good news is it looks less likely that we're going to see a tornado in Joplin now.
Yeah, certainly that is well said, Carl.
And we want to go back out to Reynolds now. Reynolds, what can you tell us about what's happening there now?
What's happening now is we still have the tornado sirens going off. I know you can hear them quite well. They're reverberating across the community. The rain is actually starting to intensify a little bit. That's one feature we really have not dealt with all afternoon and certainly into the evening hours. Hail, haven't seen it. Nothing at our location. Just the shifting of the wind. We still have the rain, very light in nature. It drops, but we still see the bulk of the lightning relatively to our north. But I got to tell you guys, Carl and Dr. Forbes, we're beginning to see more of the lightning from our present location moving a bit more to the northeast. It appears to be the bulk of this moving away. Very interesting.
That would make sense.
Not much of anything.
Yeah, the core of that storm is now off to your north and east, Reynolds, but there is another storm off to the west. We've got a warning now for Cherokee County, so this is just due west of Joplin, and this one may not be moving as much to the southeast as the previous cell.
No, it's not rotating as strongly. Just an update also, the storm up farther to the northeast in Missouri, still a tornado warning for Dade and Lawrence County in southwest Missouri. but I was been just looking at the radar on that one, and it's not rotating as strongly as it had either. But you can see it getting a little less organized. At the very beginning, I think you could really see how strong the rotation was there. That part of the rotation is still heading toward the Smith area, but we have not for a little while now seen any reports of tornadoes on that. There was a report 5 miles west-southwest of Golden City in Barton County from this storm.
But boy, is that a rotating storm right there. That thing has really been churning for a while now.
Indeed, the storm that you were talking about that might still be heading toward the Joplin area is in between Columbus and Baxter Springs, and it looks like it could be producing some pretty large hail. So the question is, will the fact that some of the cold air has already come into Joplin, will that cause the storm then to take a little bit of a right turn and or weaken as it comes into Joplin rather than coming right into Joplin with golf ball size or larger hail?
All right, we'll continue to watch the radar picture very closely. We want to go over to Kim right now, who has the latest from someone in Joplin. Go ahead, Kim.
All right, thanks, guys. We have Laura Hahn on the phone right now. Laurie, thank you for joining us. She is huddled in her basement right now in Joplin, Missouri. Tell us your experience. Tell us, if you survived, well, actually, I know you survived, but you went through the tornado 4 years ago and what you're feeling right now.
We're fine. We're in the basement. Tornado stuff happens every so often here, but we didn't. Our house was not destroyed. We had a house that was. Lots of our friends and stuff were. So we take it definitely a little bit more seriously than we probably did before the big tornado.
So did you make preparations? Were you aware earlier today of the situation tonight?
We knew that there was a storm supposed to come in, but this happened a lot.
Right. Unfortunately, right?
Yeah.
So, you already have a safe room. You already knew where you're going to go. You've got supplies. Do you guys in Joplin, is that how you think now?
Yeah, you definitely, make sure everybody's got a place to go and, that you, because before sometimes you would I was just getting the kids in bed and before sometimes you'd be like, oh, well, let's just wait and see if we actually need to wake them up or what,
Right.
And now you're like, okay, let's just go to the basement.
Oh my gosh. And speaking of kids, how are they doing? How many are there with you?
We've got two. We've got two boys, 5 and 10.
And how are they doing?
They're fine. They're a little stressed about it. The little one, of course, he doesn't remember it at all, but he still, understands. I think they show a lot of residual, people being a little scared of tornadoes and stuff, just through peripheral. And then the older one, definitely remembers that he was a kindergartner. His school got wiped out and everything. So it was, he's bringing toys to the basement and stuff with us.
That's what you got to do. You have the toys and maybe read to them, things like that. It's very traumatic for children. And Laurie, we're going to hopefully... we're going to be with you here tonight. If you need anything, let us know. We will keep in touch with you, or you can call us back. We'd love to hear from you again. That was Laurie Hahn here in Joplin, Missouri, and we wish you guys all the best there in Joplin.
Yeah, great to hear, knowing exactly what to do getting into that basement, which is what you need to do when those tornado warnings come out.
Absolutely.
All right, well, we still have tornado warnings. 2 storms with warnings on them right now, so let's take it back to the lab now. Got storm specialist Carl Parker tracking these storms.
All right, so we still have a warning in the Joplin Metro. Tornado warning in effect right now for Jasper and Newton counties. That going until 9:30. Now, what we can tell you is that the more pronounced circulation is right in there. So that is now north and east of Joplin. Right in here, what you've got, and maybe, Sarah, we could get a little bit tighter there. What we've got in Joplin is some cooler air that is dropping down just behind that circulation. So it's right in there. That is what's called the RFD, and actually right like